Hi everyone, today I want to share with you how to make your own faux handmade paper. I've done a video in the past and I will put a link below for that video. These are some of the papers I've done before and on video. I don't have a lot left. I've used them in all kinds of projects. These are the ones I've done before. What I really want to go over with today is I've been experimenting with making all kinds of faux handmade paper and faux rice paper, and I wanted to share that experiments with you. I think it turned out great, and there are so many other options, and well, just a lot better than what I've done here. These are basically just printer paper with lots of stuff on them and a paper napkin. And the great thing about all I'm going to show you is that you have all this stuff and it's accessible and it's cheap. You need just paper napkins. It can even be the cheapest ones, one ply that you can buy in bulk, and white glue, and just all kinds of stuff that you have at home. And I'm going to go about everything and all the variations and options that you can do, and I hope that I will also have time to show you what to do with all that stuff. Just so you know, with everything here you can use in your journals, you can do bookmarks, tags, notebook covers, whatever you use paper for. I've used them in a lot of projects. So these are what I've done before. These are a faux rice paper, and I'm going to go over this and all kinds of stuff, and basically how you can make your own and not count on having special designed paper napkins. I will show you all the variations, and then after the rice paper I want to show you how I believe I took it to the next level, only because I have a mixed media project in mind, and it's sea themed, and I really needed some papers that will go with it. So first of all, options for the paper napkins. You can use these ones are takeaway paper napkins with just one ply. You can use these are again paper napkins that you can buy in bulk, and you can use any color that you want, again just one ply. So that's another option, and they come in all kinds of colors as you can see. I've got more, I just didn't want to take everything out of the cupboard. So that's one. And now for the glue, I like to have several containers. First of all, I've got just plain white glue as is, and then I've got a container with 2/3 white glue and 1/3 water. This what you use when you're using paper napkins. And of course, if you want, you can use all kinds of printed paper napkins. So we are going to start, and glue. Another thing with the glue, I am making tinted ones, and I'm going to talk to you about all the variations. So first of all, there is the brown one that you only need tea or instant coffee to make. Again, it will be like 2/3 glue to 1/3 liquid, like tea or coffee, and I'm going to make one in a minute, because as you can see my brown is almost all done. This one I've made again with 2/3 glue, and then I've added third water, but then to stain it I've used gel food coloring. I really like working with gel food coloring. It's not really cheap, but it lasts so long, because one drop, the pigment is so concentrated that it lasts for a long time. I've got this for several years now. So this color I made with the turquoise and a drop of the dark green. I've got here my first try, and this was the turquoise with a drop of brown, and this one is just some blue. I think this one I used here. So lots of options, and as you can see the colors are blue because, as I said, it was done. So I will have papers for my mixed media project that I'm planning, and it will be, I hope, on video, and you can do whatever colors that you want. So that's the glue solutions, if you can call it that. And now I will make just one with you. So got a jar, and I've got some plain white glue. I always buy gallons of white glue. Maybe I should also buy some stock in a company that makes glue. And I'm always starting with only half and not 2/3, because you never know how concentrated your water are, even if it's instant coffee or if it's tea. Here I've got 5 bags. I've put 5 bags of black tea, and I'm just going to pour some of it inside, and I'm going to stir it, and I will see if now I need to check after I'm mixing it. There are 2 things that I need to check: the consistency and the color. So just mix, and it's really you hardly see the brown, and I'm just going to add everything in. As you can see, I also have some of the tea leaves here. Let's clean the mess I've done, and again I'm going to stir it. I can also just close the lid and shake it, also an option. Just make sure that you have a really good lid, so it won't go outside. So with tea you need more tea bags. With instant coffee it stains a lot better than tea, but I can't stand the smell of concentrated coffee, so that's why I'm not using it. So I really like it, but I want it darker, so I'm just going to drop a few drops from the gel food coloring. Another way to go about it is if you have other pigments, you can use them. If you have brochures, you can use brochures. You can also use the powders, the textile dye powders also will work. If you have watercolors in tubes, and even acrylic paint, but you really need to dilute it to work. So I really like now the color, but I think for this demonstration I will add even one more, just so we will have something a little bit more noticeable for you to look at. Okay, so I've done my workout for today. At least one arm. Let's move it aside. So that's the glue. Now, where are we going to do all this stuff? You need a non-porous surface to work on. I like to work on this silicone mat. This is a baking silicone mat. I like to work on this because it stays put. But if you don't have something like that, and I bought it at the cheap store, so at least for me it's accessible, then you need a plastic bag. Now you need a sturdy plastic bag because when all things are done, you want to lift it with your paper napkin and move it aside to dry. Don't use any kind of plastic bag that is not sturdy. Something like that won't do. So you need something like this to work on. And well, I'm going to leave this here, and we are going to start with the faux rice paper, and I'm going to do several examples. Sometimes I just lose my train of thought and I lose the words I want to use in English, and I'm thinking in Hebrew, and when you are thinking in Hebrew and trying to translate, it just doesn't work. I need to think in English. Okay, so we are going to start with, if you have paper napkins that you like, the best ones to turn into faux rice papers are the ones that have white background or a very light background. Like, let's see, where did I put it? This one had like a cream yellowish background, so that's that. So if you've got something like that, that's great. I'm going to take the backing, and do not throw this away. We are going to use it, and I'm always using it in other projects. I've got several videos about what to do with the backing of paper napkins, and we are also going to use it today. So this I'm putting aside, and now for doing this, I'm going to just take this time just a piece, so it would be easier to demonstrate. I don't need the whole paper napkin. And basically what I usually do is I put it on, if it's on this plastic bag or on the silicone mat, I just mark the corners so I will know where I'm going to put the glue. Now I'm going to use this that has that is diluted with water. The most important thing with doing this for rice paper is to use a wide, flat, soft brush. Otherwise the paper napkin will tear. So I'm just starting by putting glue here. Like so, and then I like to put one corner like so, so it sticks, and then it's easier for me to put the paper napkin like so. And it's also easier when you work on the total paper napkin. Now I'm going to go over from the inside towards the outside, and you need to use the flat of the brush and to have lots of glue on it. You want to feel the brush sliding on the paper napkin and not dragging like so. And I'm generous with the glue. Yes, it will take a lot of time to dry. I'm leaving all this stuff overnight, sometimes even more, depending on how much glue and how many layers I've done. With faux rice paper, it's only one layer, so it dries faster. And the other things that I want to show you, there will be more layers. Now, the most important thing, don't forget, once you covered everything, take your brush and start pushing the edges. Now, at first I thought it was just prettier that way, and then I found out that if I'm forgetting to do this, I can it's really hard to peel the paper napkin from the surface, no matter how dry it is. So don't forget to do this. You will regret it. I am telling you, it will tear. It will be very difficult to take apart. So this is one plain paper napkin with white glue, and it will look like, almost like, I don't know what to call it, like a skin. And I'll show you how it looks. I have, let's see, like I've got, this is the same paper napkin. This is with white glue, this is with the blue tint, and I believe I have here, and this is with the brown. So I just wanted to show you that you can also just use plain white glue for this kind of thing. Let's take another piece, and let's do it with the brown that I just made. First of all, again, starting, and you can start with brown, you can start with white. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to put now some of the white glue. I want to show you so many variations and options that I'm trying to do this very quickly. Okay, now just going with the brown. Very simple. Just go from the inside towards the outside. And again, if it's not brown enough for you, you can always stain it later on, if it's with sprays or more, or another coat of this glue. I've got some pieces of leafy tea leaves here. I don't care, I like it, so I'm leaving it be. So this is just one more example, and I am going for wrinkles. I'm not trying to make it without wrinkles. Without wrinkles, it's just boring, and I don't, it just doesn't look right. So here we go, just doing the edges. So this is the printed paper napkin. I'm going to move this aside, and what I want to show you now is that if you don't have printed paper napkins, I want to show you how easy it is to make something of your own, and it's going to be unique design that you are making. Okay, so I'm taking a paper napkin, a fast food takeaway paper napkin, just so you will see that you can how easy it is to use. Okay, here it is, one ply from takeaway fast food. And I'm going to take a stamp, and I'm going to take a permanent ink pad. I don't have a lot. Most of my ink pads are not permanent. This is Olive Grove Memento, and I'm going to take this a stamp of a leaf, skeleton leaf. Let's do just parts so it won't take a long time. And I'll bring another bag. Let's see. Here we go. I'm keeping the silicone mat for the other examples. Okay, so just stamping, not overthinking it, just putting down okay, we've got this, and once again let's put some glue here. Let's do now brown and brown. As you can see, I didn't mark the corners. I'm just eyeballing it right now, again trying to be quick about it. So I will have nice coverage. Putting down the paper napkin, again corner, and laying it down. And sometimes I'm moving the paper napkin so I will have more wrinkles. And once again, I'm just going from the inside towards the outside, like so. Here we go. And once again, doing the edges. And while it's wet, it sometimes looks like a mess, but when it's dry, it's just gorgeous. Okay. Another example set aside. Okay, so this was the rice paper, and I've got several examples drawing that I've done yesterday. So here I've got the paper napkin. I'll show you how it looks before I've done it. Here it is. That's the paper napkin. Here I've used the brown. Here I used the turquoise. These two are just plain. This is the white backing of a paper napkin. This one is light blue, a one ply, very cheap, very accessible paper napkin that I stamped, and here I also used a stamp. And they are almost dry. Here you can see it's a little bit still wet. They are almost lifting on their own, and I'm going to do it very gently. And here it is. And then you can do many stuff with this. If it's bookmarks, if it's tags, if I will show you in a minute some samples. Now, most of the time it's better to of course it needs to be completely dry, otherwise you are risking tearing it. And I find that a lot of the time it's better if I'm holding the paper napkin and peeling, not the paper napkin, not tearing the paper napkin, and not I forgot the, what is it? Not pulling the paper napkin, pulling whatever surface I have, like so. It does, and you just need to be patient, and sometimes I do pull the paper napkin. Here we go. So that's more examples of faux rice paper. Just want to show you, like, I can use it on something boring like this, and let's see what else I wanted to show you. So this I've showed you. This one was plain white, and I've stamped, although you can hardly see the stamp. Maybe if I'll put, I've stamped it with some butterfly, but it was very light green, so it's, you can hardly see it, but I stamped it and then put the brown solution of the glue. And here how I wanted to show you how a paper napkin that has less white in it, how you can hardly see the effect, but you can, it's also something that you can play with. And I'm thinking of doing an envelope. You can sew it or glue it, and you will have a nice envelope. You can do pockets in your journals and all kinds of stuff. And sometimes I do small pieces, and I will show you why. Here is another paper napkin backing that I just stamped, as you can see, and then went with this turquoise glue. So you can make your own unique faux rice paper. So rice paper moving along, just two things I've done yesterday. Here is, sorry, one small piece that I've put on another paper that will go with this envelope that I just stamped. And here is another piece that I've put and made a bookmark. Of course, options are endless. It's really up to your imagination what you can do. So that's the rice paper, and now we are moving along to what really I wanted to show you. And what can I say, take it to the next level. I'm going to show you all kinds of well, what I've done until now, just so you will have these are, I made all this so I will have something to play with my sea theme mixed media project that I am planning. Here we go. These are all from white backing or this kind of paper napkins, and you can do it. And you can also emboss it. Yes, and you don't need any machine or anything. I will show you also how to do that. Okay, moving this aside, and we are starting. Okay, so for this I'm going to, do I do just part of a napkin, or yes, let's do part of a napkin, just so I can show you all kinds of stuff that you can do with it. Okay, so I've got the white backing from a paper napkin. I'm going to cut it. Now, the more layers that you make, the more it will look like a faux handmade paper. The less, like one ply, it will look like faux rice paper. So we've got this. I want also to use plain one ply paper napkin, just so you will see that you don't need anything fancy. So we've got this. I decided for my mixed media project that I like 3 layers for each paper that I've done. You can decide that you prefer 4 or 5, whatever you want. And let's start. So first of all, for this, because it's more, I'm going for more like paper than something thin like rice paper, then I like to start with just plain glue. And let's mark the corners. And let's do another one here. I'm going to do 4 examples, so I'm going to mark here we go. Okay, so starting, I like to start, as I said, with the white glue, the not diluted one, so I will have a nice base. That's part of making the, let's say, the skin, and it seals the paper napkin, and that's what makes it sturdy to work with. So don't forget to put the first glue before the paper napkin. You can't just do paper napkin and then on top, although it sips, it's not enough. You need to seal it inside. Okay, so I've got this, putting first layer, and like this. Now I'm switching to the diluted white glue, and here we go again from the inside towards the outside. Like so. Now 2 more layers, and you decide for yourself what you like. If you want another I'm going to put this again like so, and now you decide if you want to switch to one of the stained glue or if you want to continue with white. You really need to play with it and find out what you like. So now let's go with this. So I'm putting this, and you don't even have to use only one color. I can mix it up. I can put several colors, whatever I want, just playing with it like so. And I like to add some texture. I'm just going to add another color just so you will see, although there is going to be another layer. It's more interesting when you've got several colors like so. Now lots of options to add texture. I've got dried tea leaves, I've got glitter, I've got this I don't know what to call them. It looks like sequins, only stars, flat stars. And you can even I will show you in a minute or later on I've done, even took this perforated, I don't know what to call them. I've punched holes in book pages, and that's what I've got, so I can use it here. It can be colorful, it can be just this, and one star fell here. I will use the stars in another example. So this is just one example, and now I'm going to take another layer, and basically I'm going to seal whatever I've put inside. So, and now again, just going over. You can do one color, you can do several colors. It really is playing, and I found that each time I just went with something else. Each time I wanted to do something a little bit different. I had so much fun creating these papers. Once again, you can also stamp on this and do all kinds of stuff. And the most important thing, don't forget the edges, so you can peel it. Here we go, doing the edges. And you can also go with other stuff on top of the third layer. You can just go all Jackson Pollock on it, and with all kinds of acrylic paints and splattering and whatever. And I can also put some, let's do some glitter. What's the worst that can happen? Let's do some glitter. If you are doing glitter, it's better be with some glue, otherwise it gets everywhere. And let's just help it get like so. Okay, one example. Moving on to the next. Okay, let's clean my brush a little bit. I've got a jar of water always on my desk. Next, okay, taking the very simple light blue paper napkin. Once again, putting down the first layer of glue. Here we go. Of course, when you're working on a small surface like 1/4 of a paper napkin, it's easier, but if you want, you can do the same thing with the whole paper napkin. Just need to be more patient. Okay, first layer. Next, so all kinds of stuff that can be put on the inside between the layers. If you've got dried leaves, dried flowers, it's also an option. Dry tea leaves, sequins. If you've got gold leaf, also it's an option. And let's put some dry tea leaves. And let's put some stars, just because we can. Now I've experimented, and I also done this with, I sprinkled some brushos. It also got an interesting effect. And let's take something. What color do I want? Well, I'm going conservative right now, and I'm going with the light blue brusho. Again, you can also use a textile dye powder. Here we go, and I'm going for the third layer. You see, already it's activating the brusho, and now I'm going to take this turquoise and I'm going over. Now the more layers, the more time it needs to dry, and you'd think with more layers it will be less susceptible to tearing, but it's not. So again, when it's completely dry and you are going to peel it from whatever surface you put it on, be very careful. And here I'm doing again the edges. Just pushing it in. Okay, that was another example, and let's see, what do I want to do next? I'm going to just move things aside. I really hope that you will check the other video I've done of making faux handmade paper, because there are more examples, more options there of things that you can put in between the layers, if it's all kinds of fibers, if it's a, what's it called, forgot the name, never mind, it's all in there. Just check another video. Okay, so moving on, let's do another example, and I'm again starting with the glue that is not diluted. I'm really generous with the glue. Don't skimp on the glue. Here we go. One layer, like so. Moving to the diluted white glue. Here we go. So this is the first layer. Let's do, I need more squares. Second layer. Let's do brown, I think. Okay, here we go. I need to remember to show you how to emboss it. Okay, so I've got this. I'm putting some dried tea leaves. If you like it, you can put granulated coffee, instant coffee grains, whatever. And let's see. Well, I've got this paper napkin, and this is cheap, very cheap paper napkin. That again I bought in bulk from, it's a chain store called Jumbo, and it's mostly, well, as far as I know, it's in Europe, in several countries, and that's where I bought it. Here we go. And once again the edges, and let me tell you, you only need to forget once to do the edges to remember to do it in the future, because it's so hard to peel it off. Okay, don't have enough room on my desk. Too much is going on here. Let's see, another one. Didn't even clean my brush. Don't really care. Okay, and let's do customized. Let's stamp on white. I don't have a room here, so I'm going to stamp on this white paper napkin here on the side, like I've done before. Again, I'm just using the same stamp because it's here, and I just want to show you how easy it is and how you can make your own thing. Okay, so I'm keeping the stamped square for the top layer, and now I'm just putting down this white layer to start with, and let's do another brown. So I will have two turquoises, and let's do another brown. Okay, after this I want to show you how to emboss paper napkins. Another thing that I've done a video in the past, but now I'm more I know it was a few years ago, and now I know more and it's better than it was before. Okay, next layer. And I want again some, what do I want with this? Let's do more of this. Okay, and third layer. Oh, I didn't go over it. Okay. Good enough. Now the stamped layer, like so. And I think that I'm going to put some gold leaf on top, just to show you another variation. Okay, I've got these little pieces of gold leaf. These are from the cheap store. It's cheaper to buy something like this than a whole sheet of a gold leaf. And since I don't need a whole sheet, it's better for me just these little pieces that I'm spreading around. Now it doesn't have to be a gold leaf. You can also add all kinds of stuff on top. It doesn't have to be this. It's really up to your imagination. Okay, and now I'm just going to help it stick, I hope. Just trying to push it into the glue. Good enough. Okay, moving this whole thing aside, I've got an example that I've done yesterday. Here we go. 3 layers with a punched paper that I had, and peeling it carefully, especially the edges. As you can see, sometimes it just wants to tear, so real easy on the edges. And once you get the edges unstuck, then it's really easy to peel off. It's still a little bit wet here. Here we go. Here is another example. And if you've got leftover glue, I'm getting tired, just take it like this. I really like this. This is just, I love it. Who knew? Okay, so I'm putting this aside, and now I want to show you about embossing the paper napkins. It's so easy, you won't believe how easy it is. Okay, silicone mat or paper bag or whatever, and what you use to emboss. I found all kinds of placemats in the cheap store. This is plastic, and I've bought them to use on my gel plates, and then I figured I can use them for all kinds of stuff. Here we go. There are so many designs, and as I said, it's from the cheap store. Here is another placemat that I've bought just to use on the gel plate, but you can also emboss on it. Another option for embossing, let's just leave this here. So we'll do the example on this one. And another option, where is it? Where did I put it? It's plastic, and let's show you. Again, from the cheap store, I found it in the baking aisle. All kinds of stuff like this. These are for cupcakes, and these are for cake, and this is plastic. Again, first I bought it to use on my gel plates, and you can also use them to emboss paper napkins. Okay, moving this aside, I'm going to take a paper napkin, and you really need to be patient making this. I'm going to use the diluted glue for this, and let's take a wider brush just so we won't be here all day putting glue. So of course you need to go over all of this, and again, don't skimp on the glue. Here we go. Again, for this I've made 3 layers. I would not try less than 3 layers because I think it will tear. So here we go. Really putting a lot of glue here. Okay, so I've got the backing of a paper napkin. I'm again putting down one corner so it will stick, and going over like so. Really doesn't matter. Okay, so I've messed with it in this corner, never mind. And I'm going again with the diluted white glue, and you need to be very, very careful. I think for this I will switch to this brush. It's smaller, but it's softer. So, and again, you need to go very gently, slide it with a lot of glue. I've put in a spray bottle water and glue, and I've done an experiment. It's to just spray with the water and glue, and it worked, but it wasn't as sturdy as all this glue. So it's another option, and if you are trying it, you need to remember that once you are finished, you need to clean the bottle with water and spray water so all the glue will get out. Otherwise, it will be you can use the spray bottle only once, because it will get clogged with the glue and you won't be able to take it out. So that's another option if you want to experiment. I found that it's better to do this this way, but with a lot of patience. So this is only the first layer. Let's do the second layer. Here we go. Again, same thing. And I also find that it's better to not only go from the inside towards the outside, it's good to change direction with how you put the glue, not only one side. And you get more wrinkles and it looks more organic, and it also helps to get rid of the crease you have in the paper napkin. Now if you are up to ironing paper napkins, go for it, but I don't even iron clothes, so I'm not going to start ironing paper napkins. Here we go. Now with this, the embossing, I will not try to add tea leaves or anything in between the layers. It's just asking for trouble. So with the embossing, I'm just putting down the layers and some color, and that's it. So third layer, here I'm going to use one of the glue or several of the glues that have some tint to it, so I can close this. Here we go. Once again, just be patient. And go all over. So I'm going to continue doing this, and I'll be back when all of this is dry. It's all I can't believe it, it's already an hour, but I think it's worth it to see all the options. I'll be back. Okay, so these are dry at last, and I just took them out to the balcony and put them in the sun. It's so hot. So here we go. It just comes really nicely off the plastic bag. Here is another one that we stamped. Another plastic bag out, and here we go. Oh, this is a little bit still moist. But here we go. Another example. It seems like I didn't push the edges quite. No, I forgot. You see? That's what I said. It's a little bit more difficult to take it out if you don't push the edges, but here we go. I've managed somehow. Here we go. So that's another one. And just one more. So here are all the examples, and while I was waiting for everything to dry, I took one of the faux handmade paper and covered this notebook. It was a really simple notebook with nothing on it, and I took one of the papers I've done yesterday, and just cut this strip here. And I decided also to decorate on the inside. I've made a pocket, and I just had to see if it worked, so I used a punch, and it works. You can punch into this. This is of course 3 layers, and as you can see, it worked. I used this punch and this one, and here it is. So I also decorated it on the inside, and basically this is it. I just want to go over with you to show you variations. Here I used only 2 layers, and it was quite pale, so the brown that you see here, I've used one of my sprays. My sprays are made from the gel food coloring with water, so this is one of the options that you can make. Here I have tea leaves and the stars in between the layers. This one's quite simple, just the tea leaves and brown tint. I've showed you this, and let's see. I used 2 colors here, and tea leaves, dry tea leaves in between the layers. Another one, quite simple. This one also with the shiny stars. Simple. This I stamped with all kinds of stamps, and then I wanted to see if I can stamp on it. If you don't have stamps, if you can do something else. I took a bubble wrap, and the circles that you see here are just from bubble wrap, so there is always another way to go about it if you don't have stamps. So this one was embossed on the plastic that I showed you, that is for a cake. This one was embossed on the placemat that I showed you. I don't know if the one that I've done, no, it's still wet. You can see it's still wet, so I'm reluctant to peel it off, but in some areas it's dry, so as you can see, I can just go and start peeling very, very carefully, or just be patient and wait for it to dry completely. I'm trying to reach the edge of the placemat, so I will have something to hold, just so you will see that it worked. So this one is the same placemat that is here. So that's all for today. I don't think I ever done this kind of a long video, but it was just necessary to show you everything I wanted to show you. I hope you liked it. I hope you will try your hand at it and have fun creating your own papers. So thank you for watching, and thank you for leaving me comments down below. I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.